Hello and welcome to my channel. Try this as a series breaking down a certain game or play style of a game. Today we're going to be talking Commander and breaking down Kibo Uktabi Prince. If you enjoy this content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps other viewers discover the content you produce and is a great way to show support. With that said, let's dive in. Kibo is a 2/2 monkey noble who costs 2 green. His activated ability reads, each player creates a colorless artifact token named Banana. With sacrifice this artifact, add red or green and you gain 2 life. He has a passive ability that reads, whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control that's an ape or monkey. Also, whenever he attacks, the defending player sacrifices an artifact. This is a pretty cool tribal commander that has a ton of value packed into one creature. The buff he gives is not only permanent in the form of counters, but he doesn't care if the artifact's sacrificed or tokens or not. With all the insane treasure-producing cards being printed over the past couple years, it's possible we'll never have to make any bananas to make a massive board presence. Our opponent's own ramp will possibly do it for us. If all this wasn't enough, he'll also force the defending players to sacrifice something on attack. They get to choose, but this can still be a great effect at most points in the game. It's a guaranteed buff to your creature base, assuming at least one opponent has an artifact and we can attack them. There isn't a ton of apes or monkeys in Magic's history, so your options for the list are a little limited. There's honestly more support for effects that synergize with Kibo's other abilities than the tribe itself. That being said, there's still enough creatures between the two creature types and changeling to populate a list with. I think the goal for this deck is to just jam out creatures of our tribe onto the field and we'll eventually build them up with Kibo. Like I mentioned, there's plenty of treasure support released over the past couple years, so it's pretty likely our opponents will just enable our board themselves. Some newer creatures that fit our tribe are Towering Gibbon, Silverback Elder, and Simian Simulacrum. The Silverback is Mono Green's latest catch-all card that has a pretty great list of options to choose from whenever we cast a creature spell. Destroying an artifact is one of those options to play into Kibo's effect. There's a few creatures that can destroy artifacts for us along with the Silverback. Gorilla Shaman, Kolga, and Yavimaya Steel Crusher are some more examples. Having these cards tied into our tribe is great, as we'll likely always have some artifacts we can blow up thanks to the bananas. For example, the Shaman's removal effect just costs 1 generic mana to blow up those tokens since there's 0 CMC. It isn't a tap or sacrifice ability either, so we can wipe out our opponent's tokens and then still swing out. It was pretty cool to see a few creatures that fit the tribe that can also protect themselves. Wily Bandar, Ancient Silverback, and Gorilla Chieftain all have activated abilities that can save themselves. This way they can hold onto their counters if there's ever a board wipe. There's some other creatures like Hooting Mandrills, Ravenous Baboons, and Gorilla Berserkers that are also useful. The Baboons have a useful removal effect, and the other two have Trampled to synergize with all the counters they get. That's kind of it for notable creatures in that tribe outside of Ragavan, I guess. Changeling creatures or effects like Turian Mauler, Maskwood Nexus, and Rumwalker are always good to see in a tribal list in general, and this deck is no different. There's plenty of utility creatures we could add, making Maskwood Nexus a welcome card in this deck. Gruul is known for having a ton of its utility on creatures, so this will help Kibo buff them along with any apes and monkeys in our deck. Gruul has many artifact and enchantment removal effects also. They're especially good here because those instant speed removal effects not only get rid of potential problems, but they buff our board while a commander is out. Cards like Artifact Mutation, Nature's Claim, and Crozen Grip are some good examples. There's a ton of cards like these and I won't cover them all. I just think it's worth pointing out that removal effects like these can also be used as combat tricks in a pinch. There are slower but more powerful versions in cards like Fade from History, Bane of Progress, and Vandal Blast that would also be worth including in a deck like this. Those first two hit your own stuff also, and Fade will give your opponent's creatures, but I think they're generally still worth it with Kibo. Your whole creature base could potentially get a massive amount of counters this way to set you up for finishing the game. Mycosynth Lattice, Liquid Meta Coating, and Torque can be pretty great cards in this deck to turn anything your opponent has on field into an artifact. This really enables Kibo's Sacrifice trigger as a removal effect while also playing into the buff ability. Bucknard's Everfull Purse, Tempting Contract, and Curse of Opulence are some cards we can use to create ramp tokens ourselves while enabling our opponents to create them also. They're generally good cards, but I think Kibo's potential will make your opponents realize very quickly that they're all traps. The original Nylea, Duck Shell Crawler, and Kadama of the West Tree will also give our creatures trample to help them get through to our opponents in combat. Kibo is great at antheming our creatures, but if we're up against a go-wide list, it doesn't really matter without trample or some other form of evasion. Molder Slug and Hellkite Tyrant are some great creatures in this list also. The Slug has a persistent sacrifice effect that will hit all the bananas we can give out every round. The Tyrant is a great alternate win condition that can also force our primary win condition. When we swing out with it, we basically force all of our opponents to crack the bananas we've handed out, or otherwise we get closer to the dragon's win con. When they do, they play into Kibo's effect. Either way, it plays in our favor, making it one of the best cards in the list. Helm of the Host and Illusionist Bracers are some great cards to get extra triggers from Kibo. I've always been a big fan of the Helm, and this is yet another deck that we can really abuse that equipment card. Not only can we generate more bananas with the new copies, but we can get extra counters and extra forced sacrifice effects. It's a slow but consistent build-up that can easily enable you to win the game with just it and your commander. Jolene and Seaborn Muse are two creatures that will squeeze out a bit more value from our list. I don't think either is really needed, but they do offer a bit of synergy. Jolene will double up any treasure producing effects we run, though we don't really need it, while it also provides treasures to our opponents. Those treasures will feed Kibo's ability and further our game plan. Seaborn Muse isn't really needed in this list, but it's mostly just to get extra activations with Kibo. We can include it to synergize with any other instant speed effects, but it generally doesn't help the tribal game plan outside of helping Kibo. To synergize with all the artifact removal effects we can run are cards like Viridian Revel and Fangren Marauder. Both are amazing cards in this deck to provide you with plenty of value throughout the game. They both work with artifact tokens and turn Kibo's banana effect into a huge advantage for us. Magnetic Mine and Ceridian Avenger will also provide some hit effects when our opponents lose artifacts, though the mine hits a bit more and also ourselves. This shuts off or mitigates the life the bananas provides our opponents. I didn't cover every card in this deck or every suggestion I have for Kibo, so if you'd like to see the rest, check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel. Comment below on cards you think synergize well with this commander, and if you have any suggestions for commanders to build in the future. Thank you so much for watching, good luck, and have fun.